Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me here today to share some of my experiences with you. I am very honored. In May 2001, I traveled to Poland to participate in a march that brought together about 400 students from 23 countries to visit Holocaust sites and to learn about the dangers of intolerance. As a Rwandan, this was an especially personal and significant trip for myself and 4 other students also from Rwanda. Although the international community vowed never again after World War II, sadly, this is not a promise that has been kept. In April to July of 1994, up to 1 million Rwandans were brutally killed in 100 days. With horrific speed and using farm tools, sticks, and stones, a group of Hutu extremists was able to organize and execute a systematic plan to wipe out the Tutsi population, my people, my family, my relatives. Now is not the time to describe the horrors of the Rwandan genocide in detail, but perhaps one fact can illustrate the horror and scope of the tragedy. Many Tutsi parents, fully aware of the imminent death of their children by crude instruments, actually paid money to murderous Hutu extremists to have their children shot rather than hacked to death. Again, the international community stood by. I firmly believe that the Rwandan regime at the time realized that the international community would not be willing to act. This culture of impunity allows small groups of extremists to brutalize people with no fear of consequences, as is happening today to the people of Darfur in Sudan. Still, I'm optimistic about the future. I'm optimistic that never again can be a reality. I'm optimistic because I believe education and awareness make a huge difference. Perhaps not as soon as we'd hope for, but I believe that education, whether it's through an educational trip, such as the one I was on, awareness campaigns, or school curriculums, can make us ambassadors of tolerance and understanding. Personally, I believe that education on genocide should be on all school curriculums. Perhaps if Holocaust education were on the curriculum in Rwanda before 1994, more ordinary people would have resisted the evil being perpetrated in their name. One experience in Poland that gave me a great deal of optimism was meeting some of the survivors of the Holocaust. Sylvia Gutman, whose parents were gassed in Auschwitz, particularly touched me. I was moved by her courage and bravery in sharing her story with us and in educating others about the Holocaust. Also, I was very interested, along with the other Rwandan students on the trip, to see what we could learn from Sylvia and other survivors, to see how they rebuilt their lives, and to learn how we could apply this knowledge to the Rwandan community, which more than 10 years after the genocide is struggling to cope with so much trauma. When a survivor of the Holocaust holds hands with a Rwandan student in Auschwitz, and when they dry each other's tears and learn from one another, we know that Hitler and tyrants like him can be defeated. I was deeply honored to be able to participate on this march. Firstly, to pay my respect to 6 million Jews who were brutally killed in Europe during World War II. To say that we have not forgotten, to say that their lives were of value. Secondly, to say to the survivors of the Holocaust that we remember, that we care. It is my hope that in remembering and learning, we will not be complacent. Complacency leads to indifference, and it is indifference that allows dangerous ideologies such as Rwanda's in 1994 to even be a possibility. Let us not forget. I feel that it is very important for me to emphasize that genocide is a universal issue. It should not only concern Jews or Rwandans. It is something that should be of concern to all humanity. In Martin Luther King's words, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are all interconnected, and I think this has become more and more apparent in recent times. We cannot afford to ignore our responsibilities to our fellow human beings. Ubuntu is an ancient African word that means humanity to others. A famous saying in different languages of sub-Saharan Africa that describes this concept goes, Umuntu, Gumuntu, Gabantu. Roughly translated, this means a person can only be a person through other people, or I am what I am because of who we all are. Before I finish, I would like to kindly ask you to join me in remembering the victims of the Holocaust and the Rwandan Genocide with whom I have a personal connection. For Hyacinthe and Dagorot, Wilson and Charles Rwanga, Eric Kagara and Mikaire, for the Karambizi family who were brutally killed in Rwanda, for Malka and Nathan Gutman who were gassed in Auschwitz. And now I would like to ask you all to pause and take a moment of silence in respect to the millions of victims of the Holocaust and all victims of genocide.